All right, welcome. I want to talk today a little bit about my background with politics and some of the ongoing situations across the world. I joined debate in high school because I was told that we go on road trips, we get drunk, we smoke weed, and that was good enough for me. I ended up diving deep into the world of politics, government, the actual functions of how things work, policy enforcement, sociological studies behind everything. I was a huge conspiracy video junkie. Every YouTube slideshow set to Linkin Park about the Illuminati, World Economic Forum, 9/11, JFK. That was basically my worldview. I do believe that all of those videos were controlled propaganda, as they left out one of the biggest, most massive elements behind every single one of them, which is the Jewish oligarchy's involvement in absolutely every bit of it. Now I'm in my 30s, and everything that I believed back then has been released as a slow drip to the masses as the current state of affairs. I was a huge Trump fan the first election cycle. He was the first candidate in my entire lifetime that actually came out and said the things that I believed, that banks and big business alongside big government were ruling the world and fucking us in the ass. Since then, he has turned on every single thing he's believed. He believes, and he very well may be correct, that his cult of personality will keep the sheep following blindly at his behest. He rage baits his opponents into spectacle to gain his support and distract from his true intentions. The right and the left are two sides of the same coin. Every single thing you see on TV is propaganda. Just because something isn't factually false does not mean that it is not propaganda. People inherently misunderstand what a false flag is, what controlled propaganda is. They give you one half of the truth and they twist it to make you believe what they want you to believe. The entire media industry is designed around showing you something to make you feel a certain way. They want a reaction out of you. There has been billions of dollars spent in the research of how to control you. They know exactly what you think like, and they know exactly the way to manipulate it. They control us with infighting, fear tactics, divisive stories, all designed to keep the two-party system at each other's throats, while it diverts all of the wants of the populace. So, with that being said, let's get started. The Iran war is a unbelievably massive failure. And absolutely the only people that fully support it are MAGA retards that cannot escape the aura of Trump. This is going to really fuck some shit up. Okay? It's going to guarantee a Gavin Newsom or a Democratic midterm flip if Gavin Newsom is the candidate for the Democratic Party, he will win the next election. There's already reports that JD Vance is going to be stepping down. And again, if you side loyally with either side of the aisle, you're fucking stupid, and they've already won. My entire life, the only thing that those two parties have done has subvert the will of the people into the wants of the oligarchical class of elites, whether that's the old money families, the banking families, big business, historically governmental families. It's a big fucking club, and none of us are in it. Let's talk about the biggest news with JD Vance recently. This is a report from Fox 28 by Charlotte Hazard. Okay. Vice President JD Vance has not made up his mind about running for president in 2028 amid the war in Iran. Individuals close to Vance told the Washington Post that a long conflict in the Middle East will harm whoever the 2028 GOP nominee is. 10,000% true. In the past, Vance was a big critic of Middle East intervention, and polls have shown that the majority of Americans do not want boots on the ground. Reports have just come out that they already have drafted plans for boots on the ground. Last month, Israel and the U.S. conducted joint strikes on Iran due to concerns about the country having missiles. Also, due to concerns propagandical concerns that they have the capabilities or were close to developing a nuclear weapon. I'm sure everyone has seen the compilations of Benjamin Netanyahu for the last 40 years saying that Iran is just days away from a nuclear weapon. And yet, the enrichment in the uranium was not to the level of making nuclear weapons. Now, is it probable and possible that they do have a secret nuclear weapons program? Absolutely. They are engaging in a strategy of nuclear hedging, which basically is we are going to exhibit the possibility and the ability that we could make nukes, but we are not going to because we don't want to have the full wrath of the world's police, the United States military, at our throats. The U.S. and Israel decided to commence in preemptive retaliatory strikes, which in itself, you cannot preemptively retaliate, right? I can't punch someone in the face first in self-defense, right? This is not how things work. Let's continue. Iran retaliated, resulting in other countries getting hit, and the Pentagon has requested $200 billion from Congress to continue operations. That figure already surpasses the entire amount of money that we have spent in the Ukraine war. One individual close to Vance said that he hasn't decided if he will run for president in 2028, specifically due to him and his wife Usha Vance expecting their fourth child this summer. He said that his family is a priority and he won't make a decision until they see how another child impacts their life. I'll go ahead and tell you that that's absolute, utter fucking bullshit. JD Vance is almost certainly a puppet candidate of Silicon Valley, namely Peter Thiel and the PayPal Mafia. These recent doubts that he just announced is a calculated move to get him out of the public eye until the political atmosphere is more welcoming to his presence. His entire background is a manufactured lie, mirroring identically but opposite Obama. He was a short-term senator, came out of nowhere with huge backing. He is a puppet candidate. And with this news, even if he did run, it almost guarantees that Newsom will be the next president. And I want to go through some of Newsom's biggest mistakes in his history because his list of accomplishments is very few, while his list of scandals is numerous. We're going to read from the California Senate Republicans, Governor Newsom's top 15 worst flip-flops and fails. When Newsom was mayor of San Francisco, he proclaimed he would end homelessness in the city. Now, if anyone's been on Instagram for 20 fucking minutes, you've probably seen Skid Row. You've seen a horrible, horrible homeless epidemic in California. He has spent $37 billion in taxpayer money on homelessness over the 6 past years. To what effect? California has become the nation's homeless capital. On top of that, there are several reports that have failed to properly track and see where that money went, not only if it worked, but where it even fucking went. Let's go to number 2. Closed for business. Remember in 2020 when Newsom forced businesses to close, leaving hundreds of thousands of Californians unemployed, even as he dined unmasked with his friends. During that time, his woefully unprepared EDD bungled payments that got taken for an estimated $33 billion in fraud. I don't think we need to rediscuss the countless clips of government officials on one hand saying that this COVID virus is deadly, 6 feet, stay indoors, and also making jokes about wearing the mask. It's disgusting, and there's a reason that there's a framed syringe with a COVID vaccine in Benjamin Netanyahu's office. Bad for business. During that time, the pandemic, California had a record budget surplus thanks to assistance from the federal government. Instead of using that surplus to pay off federal unemployment insurance debt like every other state did, Newsom decided to stop making payments, racking up nearly $20 billion more in debt and putting the financial burden on businesses. What effect did this have? Small businesses were choked out of existence and big business moved in. suffering students. In addition to putting people out of work, his mandated school shutdowns caused major damage to California's school children. 2/3 of students fail to meet math standards, and more than half don't meet English standards. I don't think that anyone could even dispute that the effectiveness of the public school system has gone down the fucking shitter. Nation's highest gasoline prices, even after coming down from 2020's mind-boggling price of $7 a gallon for regular gas, California's average of $4.25 a gallon still tops the nation and is $1.50 higher than the national average. Even Hawaii has lower prices for gasoline. Why? Big government intervention, regulations do nothing except crush the market. Now, why do I highlight these so specifically? Because I want to really drive the point home that this guy, even though he's going to win, even though he is the lesser of two evils, does not make him a good person. He is still evil. He is still a big government, corrupt politician, and he should be treated as such. If you're going to vote for him, I would suggest doing everything that you can to hold him and his administration to the fire. Let's continue. The Iran War, the most popular war in U.S. history, point blank period. The biggest effect that it is going to have, everyone talks about it, everyone knows about it. 20% of the world's oil supply goes through the Strait of Hormuz. While this will lead to shortages of oil, rising gasoline prices for Americans, the bigger impact that it is going to have is it will drive the cost of products made and imported from Asia through the roof. Now, if you're unaware, damn near everything that you buy in a fucking Walmart comes from Asia, okay? Newsom will run on price controls through government to ease consumer worries, and it absolutely will win him the election. After Newsom, whether it's one term or two terms, it will set the stage perfectly for a JD Vance-like candidate who can run on getting rid of regulation, getting the economy back on track, because in all actuality, if you've taken one economics class, the black hand of capitalism is a better solution than government regulation. Now, let's read this. This is an article from The Time. How Trump's war with Iran is impacting Asia's economy and why it matters for the world. From New Delhi to Bangkok, governments are bracing for a new wave of inflation driven by disruptions in the world's most important energy corridor. The Strait of Hormuz, which has been effectively shut by Iran in retaliation for American and Israeli attacks across a number of Asian countries, officials have closed school, told workers to stay home, and asked people to adopt other fuel-saving measures as they attempt surging oil prices to push up the price from nearly everything from food to transport to electricity. This is a quote. The conflict threatens to trigger a new wave of cost of living pressures that embattled governments and central banks around the world will struggle to deal with, especially coming from the supply side. Haron Lim, a lecturer of economics at some fucking business school, who knows. But while Asia is directly exposed, the dynamic impacts will spread the economic harm globally, as Asia is a major hub for global trade and accounts for almost half of the world's manufacturing outcome. As everything becomes more expensive in Asia, that drives up the price of everything in America. If 90% of the things you buy at the grocery store are from China, well, now all those products just went up 25, 30, 45%. Everything is going to be expensive, and it will set the stage perfectly for a big government candidate like Newsom to swoop in, promise controls, regulations, and I hate to be this guy, but dumbasses will hear that and go, well, he's going to make the stuff cheaper. Surely that'll work. No such thing as a free lunch. Government regulations do not work. They are short-term fixes that lead to longer-term instabilities. My main message is that we are under siege from the entire ruling class, left and right. The banks, the big governments, the old world families, they are all serving to fuck us in the ass. This is a radical problem, It requires radical solutions. I don't know what those solutions are, but the biggest thing and the best thing that you can do for yourself and your country, your family, is to educate yourself. Don't stop reading. Continue to engage in this propaganda network that we know as the news. But everything you read, take it with 100 grains of salt. And remember that everything that they tell you is trying to make you feel some type of way. That's all I've got for today. Until next time.